Okay, this is our third of 3 episodes following up on our episode 546, which describes research around arguments that were made in the public debate pro and against QWAC certificates and the 2 QWAC architecture.
This affects everybody.
This affects everybody. And so in the previous 2 episodes right before this, you'll see the first 2 categories. This is the third category of arguments, and these are broken into what we call compliance and interoperability.
Let's hear it.
There are 3 arguments pro, 4 arguments con. So we'll start with the pros. I'm going to read the 3 of them. Integrate website auth-n into EU trust schemes. That's a pro. Number 2, integrate with EU cybersecurity directives. That's a pro. And number 3 is strengthen accountability and transparency. So again, let's kind of lump the first 2 together.
Yeah.
Which is to say that QWACs in the QWAC architecture facilitate coordination and integration and consistent application with other foundational security initiatives that are going on inside the European Union. I think that's true, and I accept that argument, and I actually think it's valid and correct.
Yeah.
Right? That you and I have talked about a variety of directives that come from a variety of governments, and we talk about it a lot in terms of things like NIST directions or general people offering directions around PQC, but this is bigger than that. It happens all over the place. It's good. It's a good practice, and being able to make that more effective, even a little bit, is a virtue.
If the Australians made their own QWACs, it would be aligned with different laws of physics.
Right, correct. Yes, absolutely. Yes, and I've got to look up that episode. I love that. It's so funny. The third one, strengthen accountability and transparency. So this kind of connects to things that we discussed in the security and trust arguments back up there about, all right, I'm going to know who this is. I'm going to see, I'm going to be able to see who's on the site. I'm going to see the name of that person, and I'm going to be able to know who I'm dealing with. And the point here that we're in compatibility and interoperability is they brought that back in here to say one of the consequences of that is that there's more transparency and therefore accountability to what's going on that you're dealing with. Yes, I agree. I agree with that, and I think that that is a virtue for sure, right? That, I know who to sue, or the police know who to arrest.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Europeans have the right to put that in place. Yep.
Yeah. So I think in that sense, that's a yes, that's a plus. Once again, taking it back, that was one of the arguments back in favor of the green address bar way back in the day. Okay, so those are 3 pluses. 4 minuses. Number 1, create fragmented trust ecosystems. Number 2, undermine technological neutrality principles. Number 3, increase complexity and cost for website operators. And number 4, underperform compared to existing measures. So these are kind of all over the place. We probably need to take them one at a time. Create fragmented trust ecosystems. So the point here is that we got QWACs, and those are issued by TSPs, and those are coming from, their authority is coming from European governing bodies. And then we've got public CAs, we got TLS server certs that are issued by public CAs, and that authority is coming from root programs. And there are 2 entirely independent systems that deliver the same end result, and this is dumb. That's the argument.
Yep.
And I kind of go, yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Yep. It's dumb.
Yep.
Right?
I think it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Especially in today's political climate.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, but it's
really unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's horribly inefficient.
If humanity were one thing, we wouldn't do this.
Right. Yes. And it leads to potential problems. It leads to these certs not meaning the exact same thing, even though they are displaying in the exact same way. Right? So, I think that's a legit argument against. The second one, undermine technological neutrality principles. So the point here is that, okay, if I'm a big tech company, I'm viewing humans as my market. And I've heard this say, like major browsers have said in my hearing, we view our mandate as protecting billions of internet users. And they don't view their mandate as protecting internet users in the country they live in. They view their mandate as protecting human beings, right? And that's a principle of technical neutrality. And, you know, whatever criticisms you may raise of big tech, and we talked in last episode about this kind of European distaste, maybe even fear would be a better word, for having big tech control too much of our lives. Big tech, by virtue of how it's rewarded, is not going to systematically penalize any geography or population or anything along those lines, because they want their money too, right? And
the only comment in that is that big tech ain't no angel, and it comes with its own biases.
Yes, agreed. But I think they're different, right? I think they're doing their darndest to optimize revenue.
Which is a principle that you can at least hang your hat on.
Yeah.
Except that some of that activity isn't what you'd expect. It's actually, let's just put it this way. Some of the bias and some of the way that they're doing that in light of their own motivations are not the best for people.
Right. I won't argue with that. I will argue that this kind of Eurocentric argument that we saw in the last one about, well, we should do this because it's going to make us stronger against them, that particular form of bias is very absent from big tech, right? They just want your money. And no reason not to take Europeans' money too, right? And so you get less of that. I think it's less inclined to have that particular breed, that particular flavor of unfairness. Now, if your contention is there's still unfairness, I agree. But I think throwing in this geographic unfairness too is just increasing the overall sample of unfairness.
It is 100% a symptom of the politics.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and big tech is much more divorced from geopolitical concerns.
Yeah, I won't even go that far. I'll just say political reasons are the reasons why things are the way they are.
Right.
That is all.
Right.
Because I'm betting there is politics on the other side too.
The third one, increased complexity and cost for website operators. Roll my eyes. Yeah, that much. Tiny little bit.
Yeah, it's not a strong argument.
If you look at the amount of complexity that there is, this is rounding error.
Yeah.
It's a silly argument.
Yeah, it is.
Right? And then the last one, underperform compared to existing measures. This goes back to the arguments that we saw in the security and trust area, where essentially, there was this contention that, the trust indicators don't really work. They don't change behavior. And as you and I discussed, I'll encourage you to go listen to the security and trust episode because we put more energy and time into it there. But we're both very, very suspicious of that research and possibly the motivations of the people who did it. In general, I'm reluctant to attribute motivations to people, but possibly that, but certainly the environment in which that research was conducted, where the things that would have made these trust indicators effective had already basically been hamstrung.
Exactly.
Right. And so, yeah. You broke it and then you did research and you said, it doesn't work. Well, yeah, because you just broke it. And so that, that's what this is hearkening back to, since it's in the interoperability. So there you go. There's the arguments for, the arguments against.
Wow, that's 4 total episodes now on this topic, 3 where we covered the categories. I think in retrospect, nice and thorough.
Yeah.
I find this stuff fascinating because it affects all of our industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're any kind of listener to this podcast, this is cool stuff.
Yeah.
And my God, I'm sensing my own reaction to certain things as being like, man, some of the what's gone on in history is dirty.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some dirty here. And I think to just pick up something you said, me sitting here in the last 3 episodes and poo-pooing certain arguments or sneering at certain arguments should not be misconstrued as a disdain for the research. I think the research
is great.
Is valuable. And I think
Totally
it's wonderful that these guys did it. And they did it very deliberately to get away from their own opinions.
Exactly.
And just report the facts.
Hey, watch
and
546.
They did that well. Yeah, do 546. My hat's off to them. You and I, again, as we said, as pundits, we're allowed to get in here and share our opinions, and that's what we did.
And we don't pull that many punches as pundits here.
Yeah.
We're pretty gentle guys, but we've been around this industry enough to throw the gentle punch, right?
Yeah.
But there you go. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Jay.